think it's windy? Now's when I need to do an opening scene for this episode. And 5 bars, you know the word. Oh, sometimes you try your hardest and everything fights you for it. Progress, right? Trying to get up your personal Everest. I'm going to welcome you to this episode of SCOTOMAVILLE on satisfaction. Being content. Not being stuck on that hedonic treadmill. What? Huh? You know, where no matter how much you acquire, no matter how much success and wealth and fame and all that you can't get no. The wiki explanation of satisfaction can leave you bewildered. During my personal Everest, on the expedition of awareness that I have been on, I've found 3 major factors that lead toward a feeling of satisfaction, of contentment. And one is just being confident. 2, the celebration of what you're experiencing. And then 3rd, self-care. Those 3 things really make a big difference for me. And I hope they do with you. So, welcome back to another episode of SCOTOMAVILLE. There's a simple saying that the true test of genius is whether you can explain complex things in simple terms. I think if you review just some of the prior episodes, you're going to discover that I am far from a genius. I have learned to fail with grace and to not give up, right? That even my worst efforts are better than not making effort or not taking action, right? My very best fly. Point made. Take 2. To give you an example, I could not think of the word confidence. Here's my evidence. Considering events going on around the globe, it may seem really insignificant to be grateful, content, satisfied over just solving a small problem like your electric refrigerator sucking your batteries dry. Ziploc bags full of water, completely frozen solid. Guess what is not going to defrost on this trip? But when you've solved it, it really adds contentment. You're like relieved and I need to go to my emotional vocabulary list because there's a word in there that I cannot get, and I hope you just got it because it's not coming to my mind. But there's a sense of, what is it? Miss Angelina? Miss Emotional Positivity?
Yes.
What is the word that I am feeling for having solved that icebox problem? It's funny that sometimes I have to say things 3 or 4 times, but I'm hoping that you get that I want for you to start thinking, man, if Daniel and Angelina could do it, then maybe I can do it. And I am. I'm trying to say you can I'm trying to say you can achieve your goals. You just have to not quit. After 3 seasons of failing to conquer my jibes and windfoiling, I finally was able to order a custom windfoiling board. And it took me months and months to pay for it. And as soon as I got it, an old tendon from the mast Universal failed and I smashed the nose of the board. That was heartbreaking. But I had the confidence to just jump in and sand it out and go find the right color paint and fix it. I had repaired that old Iasonic board numerous times over those years. And when I discovered dripping water from a frozen freshwater tank drain petcock, wind is blowing like crazy, and I just get underneath there and tear it apart and fix it because I'm not intimidated to fail. And I've failed so often that I know that I make incremental progress. This is the petcock at the bottom, which you turn to drain your tank so that it doesn't freeze for winterizing, right? Yeah. Well, apparently this is the low part of the drain of the whole system, and water kind of stays in here. So when it sits in Oklahoma City in sub-freezing temperatures and there's water in this plastic piece, these regularly break around the country. This is well known as doing that. And fortunately that the part is only a few dollars. Yeah, $3.99 for this little plastic piece.
All right, we're working on our deductible, huh?
Okay, so when you have a $100 deductible on your $8,000 extended warranty, your $3.99 piece doesn't count.
What?
Well, you see, it's only under warranty when a factory authorized person replaces it, and since they don't have enough people, there is a waiting of when you can get your Airstream in. So if you're traveling across the country,
right,
you're not going to go out in the desert with your freshwater tank dripping.
No.
You're going to fix it. The thing to do. Crawling underneath the Airstream this morning and very inconveniently removing the inspection plate to find the holiday candy, the Halloween candy bag is what they were saying in Airstream. And they were like going, yeah, we've seen stuff, but nothing like that. You got the whole kitty full of stuff. You know, I don't even know what that part is, the guy says.
Evidence bag of what was on the bottom.
This is simply construction debris. You know, artifacts, pieces, leftovers, grommets, rings. Remember I had to crawl in and fix the plumbing?
Right.
You remember that inspection hole here on the floor?
Yep.
This was stuff laying on the floor in here. Somebody just swept it into that hole rather than put it in a dustpan. Get it?
Okay.
Because then it would just go in the hole, end up at the bottom of the Airstream in the inspection plate, and I would find all of that. I'm hoping that you'll grasp that confidence comes through failure, and you have to be able to be fumbling things and shooting crazy number of takes to get something usable. Stupid sprayer doesn't work either. Oh, holy crap. Okay. That all produces muscle memory, if you will. All right. Now, celebration. It seems to me that we celebrate the most when we've escaped hot air. Like, we love coming up to Flagstaff after 10 days in the heat of Lake Pleasant because it's such a relief. And I don't think I can recall Angelina taking a nap. Well, never in the Airstream, but for her last decade. That's pretty cool. I'm learning that in order to be satisfied, content, you have to look at the half full portion of the cup, not the half empty. You can find bird doo-doo all the time. Apparently, it'll be there regardless if you wash your truck right then, it'll happen. Once in a while, you'll find out something about yourself that it's just you. Well, that's normal. You know what I really appreciate about my brain, and this hopefully is an example for you then to find something about yours, is that my highly functional Asperger is oftentimes a real pain in the bahooey for most people. But you know what? Three-dimensional, I can just pull into a place and go, that's where I need to be. That's going to be the right view, the right sound, the right plumb, level, all of those aspects. It just happens. I'm really grateful for that. Works well when I need it. It's a real pain in the ass when you find bird doo-doo.
Look at this steaming. Daniel's making breakfast. And how cold is it in here, Daniel?
Oh, it's up to about 53, 54.
Okay, what temperature was it that we slept at last night?
The upper 40s. You know what? Here's the cup half full.
Explain.
It got colder in here than the inside of the fridge. Hot breakfast at the south rim of the Grand Canyon. I grew up in a household that was pretty black and white. I learned to look ahead and build a defense before things rolled out. I've been undoing that through this journey of self-awareness, through my personal Everest, and seeing the events unfold in Afghanistan and having the experience of my Navy service during the Vietnam conflict. I can both appreciate the freedoms that we have and the cost. And it's an amazing thing to be able to travel the country self-sufficient with some independence, and the awareness of that privilege, knowing that you're capable of achieving things like that. It's an amazing thing, and I'm really grateful for it. Sidebar of appreciation is the realization the BRoll that I've taken fits, I think, pretty darn well with the storyline. And I don't know whether that's just decades of experience or a gifting or the invisible world assisting or me synchronizing with talent. I don't know. I can't explain that. But I really want to encourage you to record yours because I think it can be reproduced. I really do. And I want that for you. When we got to the front gate, the entrance to the park, the ranger told us that our pass had expired. But he was solutions minded, and we're grateful for that because it turns out that this is an extended veterans visit free week. So there you go. I'm grateful that I live in such a fabulous country. It's almost like I've been inviting you on an expedition, a journey with a purpose up your personal Everest of awareness, and forgetting to tell you part of the experience. And it comes at this time because I'm very grateful, not just content, because we can find places to boondock that are silent and the perfect temperature, right? And the right breeze and all that kind of stuff, not because of that experience. It's called BRoll. It's when you want to do narration and talk without having to show your face. Yeah, interesting, huh? as I'm going through now on book 2, each of the episodes, each of the chapters, I'm recording it. And get it on a couple of levels. I'm recording it for your entertainment and education, but I'm also recording it for training of my avatar for longevity, so that my kids and grandkids and great-grandkids have an idea of what it meant to live in an era when we had freedom and we didn't have choices made for us by machine learning. My point in this being, I want you to fully take up your personal Everest, but I want you to be aware you're going to experience long periods between episodes of that subject matter because you're partly aware and because whatever you're synchronizing with, the invisible world or God or just coincidence and awareness, it's all coming to mind. It's all being part of your experience. Hang in there. It's all worth it.
Do not quit. Plants will be a good example, a good role model for some of us, right?
So take that to heart. Expect that when you focus, you're going to find everything around you demands your attention. And when you put it to bed, when you finish that, when you upload it, when you share it, relief and progress. I hope that'll help you. Oh God, here comes a sneeze. Another one. Another name for self-care is maintenance. And in order to do a good job of it, you've got to slow down. You got to stop the busyness. Big gust of wind. You have to stop the busyness in order to observe, right? Awareness requires the time to look at things. Awareness includes paying attention to the subtleties. I noticed that tire wear on the rear passenger of the twin axles was unusual, excessive. And so I decided I'd pay attention more to it. And as I saw it increase, I was like, I should look into this. And to my horror, I found that the retaining nuts on the upper shock absorber mounting point were missing, meaning I'd been driving, now 8,700 miles towing the Airstream, and I have no idea how long I have not had shocks on the passenger side. That would obviously explain it, but could you imagine? Remember the previous episode, the couple going across the bridge? And yeah, I mean, that could have been disastrous. No, it could have been disaster. Yeah, disastrous. Yeah, you know that. You know what I mean. I called Airstream and their emergency service, and they couldn't help. They couldn't find anybody. There's a labor shortage, remember? And I went out and found the flange nuts, all of $1, right? Came back, little blue Loctite, and ta-da, fixed. And then I had to deal with the tire. Turns out there's a rubber shortage from India, and Goodyear isn't making those tires, so I can't get a replacement for several more months. But Angelina and I play hoppers, right? Strategy. There's a fly again. So I just tried to do a side move to go forward, right? Nothing more than trading the brand new spare tire onto the alloy rim and the greatly used tire onto the steel rim and back underneath as a spare. Just swap it around. Bingo. Now we're back in service and we can finish driving a few hundred miles to where an Airstream dealer may fit us into their queue to actually have a look at the alignment. When you produce your episodes, you'll have key points that you want to make. And you'll find that, as you've heard me say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So don't be surprised, shocked, or put off, as you've seen me in early episodes. Be celebratory. Realize that it's kind of special to see those events, to recognize them, to be aware. I'll say it again, onus probandi, a little bit of grease, right tool, a little bit of blue Loctite, and all the parts are back on like they could have been from the factory. So the lesson in this one is, again, paying attention to the subtleties and asking questions before there's casualties. Figure out your strategy for maintenance by being aware and taking action before there's casualties, consequences, damages, outcomes you don't like. It's so much easier. What do they say? Stitch in time saves 9. Well, in this case, a couple of twists of and the right nuts for all of $1. Gosh. I'm wanting you to have the insight, right? The scotoma revealed that taking care of your physical body is similar. You got to pay attention to inflammation and gas and discomfort and those subtleties, because eventually they lead to pain and critical failures, catastrophic events. We don't want that for you. We want for you a life of confidence and celebration. And so, self-care, we're going to take up in the next episode in full. And I really want to thank you for joining me on this episode of